Welcome to Mercy's Designs. My name is Mercy and I demonstrate Stampin' Up! Products. Today I'm going to show you how I have combined the two stamp sets, Country Home and the brand new jar of flowers. So I hope this inspires you. This one I did not combine, but these two I did. Now these are all fairly similar cards, so I'm going to try to make this on one video and I'm going to break it up into several sections. The first section, I'm going to show how I stamp this, these images, and how you can do it most efficiently. What I would recommend, okay, I'm just going to move this aside, is you cut a piece of Whisper White measuring 11 inches by 4.5. So it's one, you cut it down the long side. And the reason is you want to maximize your paper. Okay, so you can do this several ways. You can stamp the, like the jar first. But what I prefer is to go ahead and stamp the flower. That way I make sure I have enough room. So I'm just stamping here. And then I am going to bring in Pool Party ink and stamp the jar. So here, I'm just going to stamp it right there. And I'm trying to get it right on the line. And that looks pretty good. Then I'm going to bring in Pear Pizzazz and stamp that. I did want to point out one thing. Don't make the same mistake I did with this one and stamp the stems all the way up. You want them to be down further. Even though you kind of think they should be attached, Stampin' Up! Designed it so that you stamp it right on the jar thing. And I'm looking through this, and don't look at the first line where the photopolymer ends. You want to get it on the lower. And that looks pretty good. So you want it right up there. Okay, so that one's the first one. The second one, I'm just going to set these ink pads out of the way. I will do the, this is from Country Homes, this little picture. And for this one, I'm going to, again, stamp the image first. Now this is the one with the tulips, and it's really cute. So I'm going to make sure it's all inked, and as you can see here, it's a little bit faint. So sometimes I'll kind of do that. Of course, you would never do that with a one of the squishy ones. And you notice that I'm doing this in a cookie cutter fashion. And that's going to help maximize the space. And I think I might have, yeah, that wasn't so good. Okay, we'll redo that one. I can cut that apart actually. So I was a little bit close there, but I'm just going to quickly stamp it again. I have room. And then stamp the pitcher, the water pitcher, which is super adorable. And I love this set. I've always loved it, and it's kind of fun that now with this jar one, we can hopefully, yeah. So one of the stems kind of comes into the picture, but I don't think it's too obvious or too distracting. So there, I got that stamped. Now I'm going to turn it again. And this time we're going to do the sunflower image. So I'm going to ink this up really well. Sorry, I'm a little out of view. But you want to make sure you have it well inked. I keep my stamp pads somewhat dry, because I don't like it if it's over inked. Okay, so that looks nice. I have a little smudge here, but it'll be out of my way. All right, so this is the of the milk can, the image, and this is from Country Home. And then this one, I'm going to try to get it right up against it so we don't have free floating flowers. I think, yeah, I didn't quite get it, but it's easier when you're not on camera. So for this one, I will do like what my example showed, and I will cut it apart and then splice it back together. but it is sometimes easier if you can just make it one continuous image. All right, so I'm going to pause and set up for the next part, which is the backgrounds. So for this part, I'm going to show how I created these gorgeous backgrounds for the images. So what you will need is some pieces of cardstock, and I have one that measures a little over almost 3.5 by 4 3/4. And the size isn't too important because we will die cut it out. Okay, so the first one I'm going to concentrate on is making, making this beautiful one. So what we want to do is bring in these colors. So Saffron, Mint Macaron, and Rich Razzleberry. Now, the purple Rich Razzleberry, I have to say, doesn't blend extremely well with green. So we kind of want to minimize that amount. And these are some brushes I have. So this is Rich Razzleberry. I'm going to just make sure I'm in view here. And if you're concerned that it's going to be too heavy, start off the paper. I would recommend that. And then just start rubbing. So that looks pretty good. I don't want it too dark. You can go darker. The one example I had is darker, but it's really up to you. You don't want to go super dark. I think it's better a little more subtle. All right, so that one we're done with. Next, I'm going to bring in the Mint Macaron. So the Mint Macaron, again, doesn't blend extremely well with the purple. It's not exactly recommended, probably, but I like the effect of this. So we're just starting off the paper just to make sure we're trying to avoid those marks of the sponging. And it can kind of get a little muddy, the green. So try not to blend that part too well. Now the yellow and the green blend beautifully. That's a gorgeous combination. So I'm just going to work my way up a little bit because we're going to work our yellow into the green. All right, so next is the So Saffron. And I have my blending brush. Ooh, I opened the wrong one. Okay, So Saffron. It's a good thing everything's color. So I'm starting off as well. You can always add color, but it's difficult to take away. So here we go with this one. So I'm working my way in, and you can see just how pretty this is. Now, the next few ones I will speed up because you kind of got to see the whole technique. Okay, so here we have what it looks like, the ones I just did, and then if you die cut them out using the rectangle stitch die, the third one down, so the third largest, you will get this, and then I matted each one. This one is with Pool Party, this is Rich Razzleberry and Blackberry Bliss. So you can see just how pretty it is, and it really comes to life once you put the focal image on it. So I really like this water drop technique. I think it adds a lot. I could have done it for all of them, I guess, but I thought this one was the most dramatic. It's kind of like a rainbow effect. All right, so now we're going to be into the coloring portion, and I'm only going to concentrate on the one because for the sake of time, I don't want this video too long. And as you can see, even with this one, I have started it. So what I have here already is I colored with Mint Macaron here, Blackberry Bliss, these wildflowers, and I also started here with the Poppy Parade in the light. So for this one, I'm going to I have a little cheat sheet here, and I will list these colors in the description below. But I'm going to bring in my markers to finish coloring this. All right, so as you can see, I used the light Poppy Parade here on these lines. And what I want to do now is come in with my So Saffron Dark. So I'll just set this aside and finish coloring, going over those lines and a little bit more. So I'm pulling the color out and adding more. Now, if you want less contrast, which is kind of the look I'm going for here, it's fine to let it dry between. If you want it more of a blended look, you probably should do this pretty much in one time frame, not like half hour later or something. So that's what it looks like now. And then I'm just going to finish coloring using the light. So I'm not spending a ton of time here because I'm not looking for a real blended look. I want heavy contrast. So I think I love this So Saffron color. I kind of was over it, but when they brought out the blends of the So Saffron, I fell in love with it again. It's a really soft, buttery look, which is really, I think, really pleasing. It's more subtle than like the Daffodil Delight, which, don't get me wrong, I do like Daffodil Delight, but if you want a more subtle, buttery look, this one is better. I kind of feel like it's a little better for like nature cards in a sense, but of course they can look beautiful. It can look absolutely stunning with really bright colors. Okay, so the next part is I am bringing in bronze for the label here. So I'm just going to add here. I'm trying not to get out of the lines. I'm actually standing, and I usually sit when I color. I have a little better control. So this is just like straight color book coloring. So nothing too fancy. If you wanted to darken, create more contrast with those lines, you could probably bring in like the dark soft suede, I would say. All right, so now I want this to look like cardboard. Is kind of the look I'm going for. So this is my blending pen, the white one, and I'm just dotting this. And the color lifter will lift a little bit of the color and create this really cool effect. I've seen this done with like Night of Navy and other colors. So try this. It's super easy, as you can see. And you can already see how it's coming to life with that really speckled look, which I love. Okay, so now it's the time to go ahead and work on the backgrounds of our card bases. So I am doing 3 different backgrounds, and I will bring this in just so that it'll make it a little easier. I'll back up here, and we'll start stamping. So for the backgrounds, I brought in 2 stamp sets, which is Tasteful Touches and Forever Ferns. The dots for the Forever Ferns, and this image in this one. So and we're doing tone on tone for all of them. Just an FYI. And I do realize we're going to be going off our paper, so I will bring in a scrap paper. Okay, so I think we're ready to roll. Here's my So Saffron. And what I'm doing here is just going on the outer edges to create the background. So I will speed this part up as well, but you can watch and see what I'm doing here. All right, so here we have the backgrounds already made, and now we will quickly start assembling. So the first card we're going to do would be this one. So our background, hang on a sec. I'm just looking at my examples just to make sure I don't get them mixed up. All right, so the background, oh yeah, the background for this one is this, and then we have the background for this one here and here. So I will again speed this part up. So I am going to go ahead and finish assembling this card, and I wanted to also mention that you might want to add some Winca Stella to these flowers. That would be really pretty. And also I have this little thanks, and that I'm going to just put on the can. So what I did is I stamped the circle, which I'll bring in right here, the circle, and then I stamped the thanks in the circle. And that's part of the Country Home set, which is the can, which again, I'm kind of really excited. I think I like this better than with the jar. Oh, sorry, grabbing my dimensionals for this particular card. But the jar is really cute too with it, don't get me wrong. And the jar comes with a matching coordinating punch, which is very cool. I love that when we have that option. So, but if some of you have the Country Home, you're in business, you just have to get that one. If you just have to get the new jars stamp set. But if you do not have the Country Home, it is still available, which is very cool. It has carried over, so you can still get it. So you can see how beautiful that looks. Now this one, I mentioned I fussy cut it out and attached it. So you can see either way works. This is probably a little easier in the long run, though, I think. Okay, so that card is finished. Now I'm going to bring in this gorgeous, very flashy background. And you can see I've already colored this one. So let's see. Yeah, here are my colors. And I will list these below on what I colored this with. I guess I didn't add enough glue up there. All right, so when I have something like this, where it could possibly seep out, I sometimes will use art glitter glue because it dries clear. And I forgot I've got to take off these dimensional backs, sorry. It's a little boring to see that, but anyhow, so this is just really pretty. I think this card, all three of these, but they are quite similar. So that's why I'm trying to make this into one video. Let's try to get this centered. I love this picture, but it would look odd to have the white. So this is a little trick my upline taught me. Just cut it here and then cut around it as best you can. So that looks good. Now I'm going to bring in the final one, which is this one. So I also have the colors listed here. Now this one I have the dimensional backs, and it's very easy to go ahead and just add a little liquid glue to this one. I do love the jar both of these sets are just gorgeous. I love them together. Okay, so this one, of course, is only using the jars of flowers set, except for this background. That was Tasteful Touches. So I will bring them all back in now so you can see. Okay, these are the buttercups. I call these buttercups. I'm not really 100% on that, but I will back up the camera here. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you haven't already. Don't forget to tap the bell for notifications. If you have any stamping needs, please email me at mewants3@gmail.com, and I'd be happy to help you place an order with a host code. If you have any questions, comment below. Let me know which one is your favorite. I really like them all. I think they're really pretty, and I love this sponging or using a blending brush to create these backgrounds. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks again for watching, and happy stamping.